Hi, if this is your first time watching us, welcome. I am Jessica from Hillside Adventures, and today I want to show you how to make my Grandma Jo's pineapple peach jam. So today is not one of our normal adventures, but I wanted to bring you along as I made some pineapple peach jam. It's a family recipe that has been handed down from my grandma to my mom and then to me. And so I thought that maybe you'd enjoy seeing this family recipe. So for this recipe, you're going to need 4 cups of chopped peaches. Then you're going to have 1 cup of crushed pineapple drained and 1 box of Sure Gel. You're going to bring this to a boil and then add 8 cups of sugar. And then once you bring that back to a boil, you're going to add 1 jar of maraschino cherries chopped fine, and then stir that up, let it sit, and then you're going to add it to some jars and can it up. I'm going to start with chopping these peaches and putting them in a bowl. Now, these peaches are organic peaches, so I'm going to be saving the skins, and I could use those to make all kinds of different things. I can dehydrate them and add them, once I blend it, I can add the powder to different smoothies or oatmeals. I can also take them and add them to salad dressings and stuff. I've heard that you can take the seeds and use them to make vinegar, so I'm going to look into that because I definitely don't want any of these organic peaches going to waste. These are a cling-free variety, which means when you cut them open and the inside of the peach doesn't stick to the seed, it is considered a cling-free, where the other ones would be referred to as a cling stone, the seed being referred to as the stone. So that's just a little information about peaches and the different kinds. So this video is a little different than our normal videos. It's not quite an adventure video, but our theory is life is an adventure, and everything you do can be something you learn, something you pass down, something you enjoy. So you can share it with others. So I like to cook, and I also like to travel and take care of, I got a small farm, we take care of some animals. Over the years, we've done a little bit of homeschooling. Currently, we homeschool our youngest, Ethan. And so that kind of frees us up to do a little traveling and being able to take those bigger adventures. See, that's what I mean by cling free. It just came right off of there, and those seeds come out so easy. This knife is probably a little big for this project, but it's one of my favorite knives. So now that I've got my peaches all cut, I'm going to add 4 cups of peaches, which is pretty much going to be this whole thing, to my pot. Yep. So that was 5 really large peaches, and so that gave me my 4 cups that I needed. And so we're going to do that, and then we're going to add the crushed pineapple that you're going to drain. And so I'm going to drain the crushed pineapple and then add it to the pot. And I'm going to do that just by reusing this bowl that had the peaches in it. I'm going to put my strainer and give it a good shake and kind of let that drain for a few minutes. And we only need a cup of this, so I am going to have leftovers that I can freeze, or I can use them in another recipe. So next we're going to add 1 box of Sure Gel. Now this comes in several different forms. You can get it in the powder or you can get it in the liquid. I've never tried it with the liquid, but the recipe does call for 1 box. Now it's an older recipe, so it was probably back before they had the liquid version. So if you want to try this recipe, and I'd love to hear if it works with the liquid, if that's what you prefer to use. But for now, I'm going to use the powder. Now that I've got my powdered pectin in my pot with my peaches and my pineapple, I'm going to give it a stir, turn on the heat, and let it come to a simmer. So now we're going to get this heating up. I've had several people ask me about my stove, and so I'll turn the camera around and I will give you a little quick tour of this stove. So this is a vintage 1950s chamber stove. It was known, their slogan, I guess, was called Cooking with the Gas Off, because this is a cast iron stove and it weighs almost a little over 400 pounds. So it is not a light stove by any means, but I dearly love these vintage stoves. I love things that have a story and a history to them. It has several neat features. This part back here is actually a thermowell, which I've got sweet potatoes in there right now, cooking away. And this kind of acts like a crock pot, if you want to think of it that way. You can do pies, you can bake stews, soups, bone broths, all kinds of things down in this well. And I've really come to learn to enjoy it. They also have a broiler slash griddle. And so this griddle goes on top, and then there's a pan that goes down in here, and you can actually use it for a broiler, and you can do all kinds of things. You can roast stuff in it, and I really enjoy it. And then down here is the oven, and this is, like I said, all cast iron, so it holds and retains heat very well. And this is not a little oven. This is a pantry, and I keep my extra pots and things like that down in there. But I do enjoy working with this stove. There's multiple colors. It comes in white, red, black, copper, which is a very rare one, light blue, almost like a robin's egg blue, and this butter slash canary yellow. And this is one of my favorite colors, that and the robin's egg blue. I hunted for one of these stoves for a long time. My other original stove started giving me fits, and so when I was on the hunt for a new stove, I wanted one that would suit me. And I really enjoy vintage style items that have a story, a history, have, something that's been on an adventure on their own. And so I came across the chamber stove and just fell in love with this brand, the history of it, and all the neat working parts of it. So it took me a while. I actually bought 4 different chamber stoves that were in various levels of needing to be repaired. And this is the 4th stove I bought, and just it worked coming into my house. It was ready. It came right out of somebody else's house, pretty local to us. And so I was able to just do a few repairs and then get it hooked up. And I've been using it since November of 2024. And so I've really come to enjoy this stove, and I wanted to share some recipes. I've already done a video where I showed you how to make chicken or I think it was like chicken enchiladas on it. And so if you want to go find that, that'll be linked down below. And Anyway, I just wanted to share a little bit about my stove and just give you a good look of my Chambers stove. Now let's take a look at these peaches and see how they're doing. I did use this little chopper, and I chopped up some of the bigger pieces, and it's now coming to a simmer. I will probably add some of the pineapple juice back because these peaches weren't overly juicy. They were still pretty firm, so they aren't giving off a whole lot of juice. So I'm going to add just a touch of that pineapple juice we poured off and let it simmer away. While the peach and pineapples are simmering, I am going to drain these maraschino cherries and get them chopped up. Haha, these said they were supposed to be stem free, but I got a bonus stem in mine. Just going to give these a rough chop so that when it's time we can add it to the jam. And I'll just add these to the measuring cup and so that I can pour them in when it's time. So this has been simmering for a while now, and so I'm going to add in the 8 cups of sugar, give it a stir, and let it come to a boil. So this has come to a boil, and it has boiled for about a minute. And I'm going to turn off the heat and add the maraschino cherries and just let it sit while my jars are sterilizing in the oven. Once you add the cherries and let it sit, it is basically done. You can just add it to whatever storage container you want, and you can stick it in the refrigerator for immediate use. But I am going to jar mine and then water bath them so we can have that for later and even give it out as Christmas gifts. So the jars have been in the oven at around 275 for about 10 minutes so I could sterilize them. And I've just set them up here on top of the griddle because it's all hot. And I'm going to ladle our jam that is ready into the jars. And then I'm going to put on lids, finger tight, and process them in my water bath canner for 10 minutes. And that is according to the Ball canning book. Not quite enough for 12 jars. So this one, since it's not full, gets to go in my refrigerator, and I get to have that later. Now it's time to get these cleaned up, get the lids put on them, and get them put in the pot. They're all in the water bath, completely covered with water, and I'm going to bring this to a boil. Let it boil for 10 minutes, turn it off, let it sit for 5, and then pull them out. Thank you for joining me as I showed you how to make my Grandma Jo's pineapple peach jam. Please join us next week on our next adventure.